Imagine standing in the heart of Rome today, surrounded by the whispers of history. The Colosseum, the Forum. Every stone tells a story of ambition, glory, and loss. This was the center of an empire that stretched from Britain to Mesopotamia. Rome's story is one of power, engineering, conquest, and ultimate collapse. We'll peel back the layers of time to explore how a small city-state became the master of the known world and why it all fell apart. This isn't just about dates and battles. It's about people, their dreams, and the world they built and lost. By understanding Rome's rise and fall, we glimpse the nature of power and civilization itself. So, let's step back in time and see how the stage was set for the greatest empire the world had ever known. Before Rome, the Mediterranean was a patchwork of rival powers. Greek city-states had flourished, but their empires fractured after Alexander the Great. Carthage ruled the seas, the Gauls dominated the north, and the Etruscans shaped early Italian culture. The Italian peninsula was a mosaic of peoples, languages, and gods, rife with conflict and shifting alliances. Rome was just one city among many, surrounded by older, richer, and seemingly stronger civilizations. Yet, beneath its humble surface, Rome was forging a unique blend of discipline, ambition, and a new form of government. Its people were hardened by constant warfare, and their society was built for survival. In this chaotic world, no one could have predicted that Rome would rise above its rivals. But something was stirring, a force that would soon reshape the Mediterranean. Could this fledgling city truly become the master of all? Rome's rise began with a revolution, not a king. In 509 BC, Romans overthrew their last monarch and founded the Republic. Power now belonged to the people, exercised through elected officials and the Senate. The Republic was forged in conflict. Every citizen was a potential soldier fighting for Rome itself. The Roman legion became the most disciplined force of its time, united by a shared sense of purpose. The government balanced power between consuls and the Senate, but internal struggles between patricians and plebeians drove constant change. Rome fought and absorbed its neighbors, expanding across Italy through relentless warfare and integration. Roads, colonies, and citizenship bound new territories to Rome. By 270 BC, Rome ruled Italy, but a new challenge loomed across the sea: Carthage. The stage was set for a titanic struggle that would decide the fate of the Mediterranean. Rome's republic was strong, but would it survive the coming storm? The answer would shape the ancient world. The Republic's greatest test was about to begin, and the world would never be the same. Rome and Carthage clashed in the Punic Wars, a century-long struggle for supremacy. Rome, once a land power, built a navy from scratch, using captured Carthaginian ships as blueprints. The Corvus boarding bridge turned sea battles into infantry fights, giving Rome the edge. Hannibal's legendary march over the Alps nearly destroyed Rome, but the Republic's resilience prevailed. Rome refused to surrender, raised new armies, and eventually defeated Hannibal at Zama. Carthage was humbled, but Rome's vengeance was total. Carthage was annihilated in the final Punic War. With its rival gone, Rome dominated the western Mediterranean and turned east, conquering Greek kingdoms. Victory brought immense wealth, slaves and new problems, social unrest, corruption, and inequality. The Republic's old systems strained under the weight of empire. Rome's greatest triumphs planted the seeds of its own undoing. Expansion brought glory, but also crisis. The eagles soared higher than ever, but storm clouds gathered on the horizon. Rome's next challenge would come from within. The Republic's days were numbered. A new era was about to dawn. Civil war ended with Octavian Augustus, who became Rome's first emperor. He claimed to restore the Republic but gathered all power to himself, ushering in the Roman Empire. The Pax Romana began. 2 centuries of peace, prosperity, and stability. trade flourished, cities grew, and Roman culture spread across the empire. Roads, aqueducts, and public works transformed daily life. Gladiatorial games and grand spectacles entertained the masses. A shared Roman identity united diverse peoples under the eagle's rule. Emperors like Augustus, Trajan, and Hadrian left their mark on history, but the empire's stability depended on strong leadership. What would happen when the line of good emperors ended? The Golden Age could not last forever. The crisis of the 3rd century nearly destroyed Rome. Invasion, civil war, plague, and economic collapse battered the empire. Dozens of emperors rose and fell, most meeting violent ends. While Romans fought each other, Germanic tribes and Persians pressed the borders. Inflation soared, trade faltered, and plague decimated the population. The empire fractured into rival states, and the old unity was lost. Only strong soldier emperors managed to restore order, temporarily. Rome survived, but it was now a more militarized, authoritarian state. The confident open world of the Pax Romana was gone. The empire was fighting desperately for survival. The cracks were widening, and the end was drawing near. Diocletian rose from chaos, dividing the empire into east and west under the Tetrarchy. He expanded the army, centralized power, and imposed harsh reforms to stabilize the state. His persecution of Christians was the last gasp of the old order. After Diocletian, civil war returned, until Constantine emerged. Constantine's vision at the Milvian Bridge led him to embrace Christianity, ending persecution and granting religious tolerance. He moved the capital to Constantinople, shifting power eastward. The empire's two halves grew apart, each developing its own identity. The West became poorer and more vulnerable, while the East thrived. The division was now permanent. The stage was set for one half to survive and the other to fall. Rome's fate would soon be sealed. The Western Empire faced relentless pressure from migrating Germanic tribes and internal decay. The Visigoths, Vandals, Franks, and others carved out kingdoms as Rome's power waned. The sack of Rome in 410 AD shattered the illusion of invincibility. The government relied on barbarian generals, losing control of its own destiny. Provinces fell, the tax base collapsed, and the army disintegrated. In 476 AD, the last Western emperor was deposed by Odoacer, a symbolic end to Roman rule. The imperial insignia was sent east. The West had fallen. The lights went out across Europe and a new uncertain age began. The Roman Empire in the West was gone, but its story was far from over. Rome's fall plunged Europe into the early Middle Ages, but its legacy endured. The Church became the new unifying force, preserving Latin and Roman traditions. Roman law, architecture, and ideas shaped future civilizations. The concept of a republic, arches, domes, and even our calendar trace back to Rome. The Eastern Empire, Byzantium, survived for another 1,000 years, preserving knowledge and acting as a shield for Europe. Medieval rulers claimed Rome's mantle to legitimize their power. The echoes of Rome are everywhere, in our languages, laws, and institutions. Rome's story is a timeless epic, a lesson in ambition, achievement, and the dangers of arrogance and decay. No empire is eternal, but Rome's influence is everlasting. Its rise and fall mirror the cycles of all civilizations. The stones of Rome may be silent, but its story still shapes our world. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more history deep dives. Let me know in the comments which empire you'd like to explore next. See you then.